The good old hot take. The necessary evil of the sports world. Through the good ones, the bad ones, and the downright atrocious ones, we once again find ourselves racking our brains trying to figure
That's a crazy take right there, bro.
out how some people come up with this nonsense. But today, I've done the brain racking for you and found some of the hottest NBA takes on the internet. NBA Finals Edition. So buckle up. This may be a bumpy ride. Today's video is sponsored by Liquid IV. This summer, stay fueled. With finals upon us, I thought to myself, what better time to take a look at some hot takes? Per usual, I immediately regretted this decision, but it had to be done. So let's jump right in. Now, our first take has been around for decades, and regardless of how insane it is, fans continue to say that the NBA is rigged and scripted. And to that I say, what? First of all, reality is stranger than fiction. The best way to create incredible, captivating moments in sports would be to not script them. You think some dude rigged Kevin Durant eviscerating his calf in front of tens of millions of people? Or what about the Nuggets just sweeping the Lakers? Wouldn't it make infinitely more sense to allow most series to go into 6 or 7 games for more revenue? We had a very real chance at a Celtics-Lakers finals this season. In what universe do the script writers not choose that outcome? I wonder what Chris Paul thought when—
Nah, you're not thinking high IQ enough, bro. You're not thinking high IQ enough. And let me just reiterate this take for the people who haven't heard my take on this. I think there's a clip on the channel, but I'll say it again. I don't think that the NBA is 100% rigged. I don't think the NBA is going for ratings and the most spectacular thing every single year. I can't say that every call was just in the script. I can't say that every NBA matchup, every NBA game has a predetermined outcome. But what I will say is that I think the NBA does try to control what they can't control to the best of their abilities. As much as they can. Just as much as they can. You know, I think if they control too much, it would be too obvious that the game is truly rigged. But I feel like the main thing that they really control, at the very least, the NBA draft order. Just the order. I wouldn't put it, I wouldn't say the league is so rigged that every individual NBA team, you know, Adam just tells them to draft this player. But I think at the very least, the order, I think that's something that the NBA controls. You know what I'm saying? I think within games, the inconsistencies with the referees and how they call shit, a part of that is just humans being humans. You know what I'm saying? You can't be 100% consistent with how you call every single rule in the rule book. I think that's fine and that's fair. But also, I ain't gonna lie, with some of these calls, I think referees pick and choose when they want the game to be a little bit more physical and when they want it to be a little bit more ticky-tacky. I think that is a thing. Now, I don't know who is telling them to do that. I don't know if it's just up to the referees. But I'm just saying, man, I wouldn't be surprised if going into a game, there's a certain intention to how they want the game to be played, and they just let the outcome be the outcome. You know what I'm saying? But hey, that's just me though. That's just me.
When he got the script and saw that Luka Doncic was going to walk him like a dog on his way to his 87th second-round exit. If the NBA was truly rigged, why on earth would the most lucrative franchise in the league have virtually no success over the last 20 years? Oh, your team is one of the 29 teams that didn't win a championship this season? It couldn't be that they just weren't good enough. It's because the basketball overlords didn't have it in the script. The biggest suspicion comes from the way refs officiate the games, handing out more fouls to one team than another, making odd calls during crucial points in the game. And believe me, brothers, I'm right there with you. If I had $1 for every suspect call I saw in an NBA game, I'd have enough money to start my own franchise to complain about. But that's just the nature of sports. Sometimes things go your way, sometimes they don't. As much as we would like for refs to be mindless robots who get every call correct, they're human, just like us, and they make mistakes. This guy says the NBA is colluding to get the Lakers into the playoffs. Well, then I guess the NBA also colluded to get them swept in the conference finals. I know it's tough to watch your team lose, but of all the excuses we can make as fans, can we please stop resorting to this one? This is a bad take. Now, this next take comes from my man Bill Simmons, who had this to say about this year's Nuggets team.
This Nuggets team is the best team I've seen in person in 5 years. Since the 2018 Warriors. Not just better, but really probably beats anybody the last 4 years.
Let me know what y'all think about that, chat. The 2023 Nuggets better than anything since the 2018 Warriors. So that's 2019 Raptors, 2020 Lakers, that's 2021 Bucks, that's 2022 Warriors. Let me know.
Now, when I first heard this, I thought that can't be true, but it actually might be. Of course, there's no way to know for sure, but going back through the last 8 teams to make the NBA Finals, the 2023 Nuggets do look like possibly the best team. Now, this is all just an opinion, but I think this year's Nuggets team would have beaten the 2022 Celtics and Warriors. They would have beaten the 2021 Suns and the 2020 Heat, and they would have probably taken down the 2019 Raptors. The 2 teams that I think are debatable are the 2020 Lakers and the 2021 Bucks. But if we
I don't know, bro. I think people sleep on that 2019 team, bro. I ain't gonna lie. People sleep on that 2019 team. Like, the defensive versatility that they got is just fucking insane, bro. Like, holy shit. Let alone, and the perimeter defense was on point. With Danny Green and Kawhi, I don't know, bro. And they were being coached by Nick Nurse, so it wasn't like coaching was a weak issue for them. Shit. I think the 2022 Warriors as well. I think that goes to 7. If it was last year's Warriors versus this year's Nuggets, I think that personally goes to 7. Assuming Jordan Poole plays much better, but.
Are the 2020 Lakers and the 2021 Bucks. But if we look at some postseason metrics from these teams, the Nuggets are on pace to being the best team since the 2019 Warriors. In the moment, it may not feel like it, but this Nuggets team is incredible. They beat a loaded Suns team that had the most lethal 2-man offensive game in the NBA. They swept a Lakers team that beat the defending champs, and they've done it all in historic fashion. The 2023 Nuggets may just be the best team since the 2019 Warriors. The eye test backs this up, and the stats do as well. Now, this next take comes from a fan who says that if the Heat become the first team to win a championship as an 8 seed, it automatically becomes the greatest playoff run in NBA history. Well, let's look at some of the greatest, or rather improbable, playoff runs throughout the league's history.
I think as a team, first of all, I want to say automatically. But if we're not just looking at Jimmy's run, if we're looking at the whole team's run, hey, it's up there, bro. If they win, it is fucking up there, bro. Because for them in the first round, first of all, for their backs to be against the wall, not having home court in any series is already crazy, right? First round, they beat the team with the best record in the league. Second round, they beat the Knicks. Ooga booga. Third round, they beat the team with the second best record in the league. So, in 3 rounds, they've truly already beat 2 championship contenders. And then they beat the Nuggets, they beat 3 championship contenders. And I'd say 3 players with a chance to be first ballot Hall of Famers.
There are improbable playoff runs throughout the league's history. The 2011 Mavericks are considered by many to have the greatest playoff run of any team. As a 3 seed, the Mavs beat a 48-win Blazers team. They beat the reigning champions in the Lakers and Kobe Bryant. They beat a young 55-win Thunder team, but most importantly, they beat the Miami Heat and their Big Three in 6 games. A series in which everyone and their mother thought Miami was going to win. But one of the most overlooked runs was back in 1995 when the Houston Rockets won an NBA championship as a 6 seed, currently the lowest seed to ever win a title. If some of y'all aren't familiar with this playoff run, it's almost hard to believe what this team pulled off. Because on their way to a championship that postseason, Houston beat a 60-win Jazz team with Malone and Stockton, a 59-win Suns team with 2 All-Stars in Charles Barkley and Dan Marley, a 62-win Spurs team featuring the league MVP in David Robinson, and a 57-win Magic team with Shaq and Penn.
Hey, holy shit. Oh. Yo! Oh my god! 4 straight rounds of 57+ win teams, and like 4 straight rounds of teams being led by top 20 players of all time, bro, or top 25. Bro, yo, Jesus Christ, dude.
Penny. A few years ago, I made a video on the most difficult championships ever won, and the Rockets title in 1995 was ranked number 1. In fact, if we add up the total amount of regular season wins from all the teams the Rockets beat that postseason, we get a whopping 238 wins. Compare that with the 2011 Mavericks and this year's Heat, as well as some other metrics, and
I'd probably still take that 1995 Rockets run over this Heat team, even if they win the championship. Because number 1, that 1995 team did still win the championship. Number 2, I think every single round their competition was much better. And whatchamacallit. Number 3, from my understanding, every single round, like, the other team was healthy. If I'm wrong on that, I'm wrong on that. I don't know. But if they were healthy every single round, unless you're going to put, like, crazy air attacks on the 1990s and the fact that they played in the 90s, yeah.
It's clear that the Rockets had a much more difficult path to a championship. But the 95 Rockets did have a solid squad surrounding Hakeem, with players like Clyde Drexler, Vernon Maxwell, Kenny Smith, Sam Cassell. This was a good team. The 2023 Heat, however, have absolutely no business even being in the finals. It's literally Jimmy, Bam, and the undraftables. Even the Mavericks in 2011 are a criminally underrated team. They were the 3 seed going into the playoffs with 57 wins. They had an awesome core of players, and they were easily one of the best teams in the league that season. They just had to make it past the heavy favorite to win it all. This year's Heat team was never favored in the postseason. From the very first series, they were expected to get sent home, and 2 of their core players have virtually sat the entire playoffs. So between the 1995 Rockets and the 2023 Heat, it's close. The Rockets had a more difficult path, but the Heat were expected to have absolutely no chance at all. You could make a great argument that if the Heat win a championship this year, it would be the greatest playoff run in NBA history. And so this is a good take. And our last take comes from the legend himself, Mike Breen. During Game 1 of the NBA Finals, Breen had a take about Nikola Jokic that some people didn't really appreciate. And one of those people was in the booth with it.
You marvel at his complete game. He passes like magic. He rebounds like Moses. Shoots like Dirk.
Rebounds like Moses? Are you
Moses Malone?
I know. You want to check yourself?
Now, Mike Breen has watched a lot of basketball. He knows the game, and as much as this take seems like a reach, is it really? Breen says that Jokic shoots like Dirk, which is about the highest praise a big man can get, and the numbers support this. Well, kind of. On short jumpers, Jokic is historically efficient. Both Dirk and Jokic are equally
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Jokic in this area right here, this motherfucker is crazy. Like, the touch he has around the rim, and just in general when he shoots, like in this area right here, it's fucking insane, bro. Like, holy shit.
Deadly with their long jumpers, and Dirk is a noticeably better three-point shooter. But there's context missing here, because Nikola Jokic only shoots 39% of his shots from outside 10 feet, whereas Dirk shot a whopping 77% of his shots from outside 10 feet. As efficient as the Joker is, Dirk is the gold standard for a shooting big.
Yeah, I think Dirk is still a much better mid-range scorer than Jokic. I think within the paint and within the low post, I'm gonna give that edge to Jokic. And in terms of just pure three-point shooting, I'm still giving that edge to Dirk. I think the volume is right around the same too. So
big. Breen also said Jokic passes the ball like magic. And sure, Jokic isn't the engine to the most exciting show in all of basketball, but in terms of moving the rock and getting open looks for his teammates, Jokic does pass like magic. In my opinion, Magic Johnson is still the greatest passer the game has ever seen. Jokic isn't quite that, but if you were to give your top 5 passers in NBA history, who would be on your list? Magic, Steve Nash, LeBron James, Chris Paul, Jason Kidd. Maybe you got John Stockton, Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas. But Nikola Jokic is undoubtedly in this discussion. And the last comparison...
Yeah, he just don't be running fast breaks like the other guys, because honestly, let's just be honest, they're guards. So you're not going to see him run a fast break full speed. Whoop. You know what I'm saying? You're probably not going to see that. But the passes he makes in the half court, them shits are crazy.
That Breen gave was that Jokic rebounds like Moses Malone. And this is where Mark Jackson really lost it, as if the statement was a massive reach. Because it kind of is. Moses Malone was a 6-time rebounding champion, arguably the greatest rebounder of all time. Moses had an 8-year stretch where he averaged 15 rebounds a game. Jokic can rebound with the best in the league, but he's not quite the board-grabbing machine that Moses was. So, in Breen's defense, Jokic can almost pass like magic, he's nearly the shooter Dirk was, and he's not quite the rebounder Moses Malone was. So, although it's a bit of a stretch, I do like this take. But unfortunately, that's all the racking my brain can handle in one sitting. But y'all know the drill. Leave a comment with your hot take, and as usual, the hotter, the better. Or worse. Hope you all enjoy it. And as always, until next time.
I don't know. My hot take is Jamal Murray's climbing up those guard rankings after these playoffs, bro.